Football leagues across the continent and the world are looking for answers on how to end their respective seasons, and it seems that Belgium are the closest ones to finding some sort of resolution. Now, it's interesting. If you look at the Belgium's format, how they go about their season, they have a normal regular season of 30 match days before going to a playoff, similar to the MLS in America, to determine the champion. The good thing for football in Belgium is the fact that they have already played 29 match days from the 30 of the regular season, meaning if they end the season now, it's not a major disaster. Unlike the Premier League, where there's still more than one game left. Nevertheless, if we look at the Belgium situation, Club Brugge seems like they will be awarded the title. Most news sites have reported that anyway, saying that it will be Club Brugge lifting the championship title, whatever the decision may be with regards to the remainder of the season. They are, of course, 15 points clear of second placed Ghent, which means if Club Brugge are awarded the title, it's not like Ghent can go to the powers that be and start complaining, as it is a considerable amount of points. The same cannot be said, for example, for Vaasland Beveren, who are currently bottom of the Belgian Pro League. Should the season be stopped at this moment in time, it would be them going down. That's according to Peter Kroenen, the president of the Pro League, the top tier in Belgium. You know, I was just following some of the things that he said as a statement did come out regarding this situation. Basically, the Pro League board of directors unanimously agreed that stopping the competition would be the socially responsible decision. And Peter Kroenen went on to say that the country has other priorities, than football. You can't disagree with that. But he also went on to talk about the current situation regarding Club Brugge and regarding Vaasland Beveren, currently the bottom team in Belgium. He said, nothing can compete with a 15-point lead regarding Club Brugge, but Vaasland Beveren will not agree. But according to the same logic, the classification could also be sufficient to determine relegation. Bad news for Vaasland Beveren there. He continued by saying that a working group must look into this. Now, a working group was supposed to send its recommendations to present its recommendations at General Assembly, which was supposed to take place on the 15th of April. The General Assembly basically being the representatives of the 24 professional clubs in Belgium meeting together and trying to find a resolution. Now, that General Assembly has been postponed from the 15th of April to the 24th of April. So we won't have many more answers until that date, until the 24th of April, when all the clubs meet. However, there are so many questions left, and I think it would be helpful if we just go over some of them. The question of the title is simple. As we spoke about it before, Club Brugge will most likely be the champions come the end of all this. However, what about relegation? This is one of the major question marks at the moment. Are Vaasland Beveren going to be relegated? Should the league be stopped as it is, with one match day left of the regular season? Well, it's a tough call to make, as Vaasland Beveren at the moment are on 20 points. With one game to go, they could mathematically overtake Ostende, who are on 22 points. Don't forget, one match day to go. While Vaasland Beveren were meant to take on second placed Ghent, you can never predict, especially on the last day of the season, the last match day, what could happen. Vaasland Beveren could turn on the style and go on to beat Ghent. You just can't predict things like that. Ostende, meanwhile, they're on 22 points, one spot above the relegation place. However, they have a different issue, which has to be considered now by the General Assembly. Ostende have not been granted a license to play next season. So does this mean that they will be automatically relegated, and as a result, Vaasland Beveren will be able to remain in the Pro League? Well, that's certainly one of the questions that will have to be answered during that General Assembly on the 24th of April. It's certainly a huge issue. Now, Ostende are not the only ones missing out on a license at the moment. This has been a huge a shockwave in Belgian football. 17 teams, professional clubs in Belgium have been granted a license. 7, however, have not. This includes Ostende. This also includes Standard Liège, a team which not that long ago was playing Arsenal in the Europa League, and now look at them, potentially facing the amateur leagues next season. We'll see. We're not saying anything. Nothing is set in stone, and an application to reject that call will be made. They will be appealing to the Belgian Court of Arbitration for Sport. However, a decision with regards to that hearing will not be made until May, and the General Assembly will meet in April, on the 24th of April, to make a decision with regards to this season. So there are still so many unanswered questions that we simply have to wait and see to what that General Assembly says. Now, it's a tricky situation for them, because obviously they don't know what's happening now with the license. We're going to have to wait and see on whether how long will the appeals take. We should expect the answers in May, but you never know. With the current situation, court cases could drag on even further. One of the other questions for the General Assembly, moving away now from the license, moving away from relegation, moving away from the title, is the question of promotion. Obviously, there is a second tier in Belgium, and normally what happens is there is a playoff. The 2 best teams from the second tier go head-to-head in a 2-legged playoff. Now, the complicated issue here is that the first leg of this playoff has already been played. It was between Beerschot and OH Leuven. Beerschot won the first leg by 1-0 at home. So does this mean that they will progress to the Pro League? Or does this mean that we have to wait until the second leg, whenever it can be played? This is certainly a question that will need a little bit more digging into, because there was a quote earlier from Peter Kroenen, the president of the Pro League, who basically said the organisation of 2 matches is less oppressive for the company than 10 days of the championship, but this will also be discussed within the working group. So according to Peter Kroenen, putting together a couple of games is a lot easier than managing a whole round of fixtures, which could mean that the working group is thinking about the possibility of playing this second leg of this playoff. And this would certainly help to answer a lot of the questions. Now, he mentioned, as you probably saw there in that statement, that the organisation of 2 matches. And the other one that he was sort of alluding to was the Belgian Cup final, which hasn't taken place yet. Club Brugge was supposed to take on Antwerp in the showpiece. Now, as we know, the winners of the Belgian Cup have a place in Europe. So it is a massive opportunity for Antwerp. Will they be denied that? Will Club Brugge be denied a possible double? Now, as Peter Kroenen said there, the organisation of 2 games is a lot less hassle than a full round of fixtures in the league. So I would not write that off. I think there is a possibility we could see a couple of games taking place before the start of next season to determine these main questions. These main questions of promotion, these main questions surrounding the Belgian Cup, and possibly the questions surrounding relegation. You never know. Now, we spoke a little bit before about licensing problems, and this is a huge issue because it leaves us with a question mark surrounding the future of Belgian football as a whole. Are we still going to have a 2-tier system? Will Belgium still have 2 professional leagues in the country? Or will it just merge into one? Remember, 17 professional clubs have been given a license for next season. Normally there are 16 clubs in the top tier as it is. And now we only have 17 professional clubs with a license. Will amateur clubs now be trying to get a license themselves in order to try and secure a place in the second tier that way? Will there be changes to the format? Will those be questions that are looked at by the General Assembly? It's hard to know, and I think the General Assembly, the working group board of directors of the Pro League will wait to see on the outcomes of the applications for the licenses and the teams who have been rejected those licenses. We will be waiting for their hearings to see whether they can actually get one. But looking at the reasons why some of these teams have been rejected licensing is quite worrying. And I've got two specific examples just to illuminate some of the issues going on right now in Belgian football. Let's start with the 7 teams who have missed out on a license. Those include, as I said before, Standard Liège, Ostende, Lokeren. Lokeren is such a huge club in Belgium. Could they be facing an amateur team in a couple of months' time when the new season starts? It is a possibility. It's a scary possibility that the club the size of Standard Liège could fall into that same path. However, the reason why they were rejected a license in the first place, first of all, the licensing committee criticised several elements of the club. The first one being there was no proof of payment of signing bonuses for 8 players for the month of February 2020. That bill totaled €1,000,000, €44,027.06. There were also questions over the sale of the stadium. There were further questions regarding the club's financial position. Were there even enough funds to keep on going? Huge issues regarding the future of such a famous club in the country. As I say, not that long ago, they were competing in the Europa League, and in a few months' time, they could find themselves in the 3rd, 4th tier, starting the season with a negative points tally. That would be simply unprecedented. Now, Ostende are another club facing a lack of a license. Now, their situation is a little bit different because they based their license application on the fact that they were hoping to have 2.7 million of an injection in finances. They were hoping that the new investors would be able to secure that while the application was going on. However, the new investors have had trouble with the ownership, with regarding the stadium, the use of it, and the current outstanding debt at the club. Those disagreements meant that the €2.7 sum did not go through, meaning Ostende were left high and dry, and the licensing committee just simply said, well, you based your application on the fact that you would have this financial boost, and it's not come off. So that was one of the reasons why they ended up missing out on a license. However, it is concerning times for Belgian football. We cannot really dig deep further than that, and we will have to wait until the 24th of April to see what the General Assembly makes of all this current scenario. Don't forget, one thing I'll point out to you, any decision made by the General Assembly will have to be approved by an 80% majority. We'll see whether that has any impact on any decisions made. But it's certainly interesting with regards to the future of the Belgian Pro League. Now, I've been looking at some articles by newspapers, certain ones, asking whether the Belgian Pro League could change format. Will they stick to 16 teams? Could they move to 18 teams? Could they possibly move in an unprecedented move to a 20-team league? These questions, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to leave for another day. But until April the 24th, we have covered some of the main questions that need answering, and I think a lot of those will be answered come that date. And I'm sure that we will pick things up from there and see where we've left off. But certainly, April 24th, the date to look out for the General Assembly meeting.